My name is RD, and today I'd like to talk about my progress with Emacs so far. I'd also like to make some clarification
Okay,
for what
so
I did
once
with
you've
my
restarted
previous
Emacs,
So
you'll be able to execute
last time
the
I said
command
that
package list packages.
you could actually
and the
you
way
could
you
not use
execute any
Emacs
command in
28 with
Emacs is by typing Alt X.
SmallWorld.js.
So you can see
Turns
here,
out the process is very
Alt
easy.
X.
So I actually managed to successfully
and I type
use
package
Emacs
dash
with SmallWorld.js,
list
and it's actually very
dash
easy.
packages.
So if you are afraid of
And I
messing
press
up
enter.
whatever setup you have in Emacs 23, it's very
It
simple.
lists all the packages available to install.
Install Emacs
there's so
version
many
28
packages
right next to it. So you
available
can see
in
here
Emacs that
there's
no
a
one on
version
earth has installed
28
or packages
is
available
the
for
version that
Emacs.
we use for the company.
But the only package we're
We
interested
use
in
it side by
is
side, and it's perfectly fine.
magik-mode.
So the folder name is not important.
As you can see, mine
So
is already
yours
installed.
might be called Emacs 23.
Installing it is easy.
It's not really
Just press
important
enter
as long as the new version you
or
use
click with your mouse.
has a different name, right?
So if I press enter,
and another thing you might want to do is actually
instead of the
copy
command
the
delete,
demo
the button
shortcut
delete, you should have
with this one,
button here.
right?
Once this is installed,
And then change some of the
typing
properties.
Q will close the buffer.
So
and typing Q will also close
everything
this
is about the same
package
except
so Q.
the JS alias file I use. I create another JS alias.
now
I call it
your
JS
F2Z
alias
command should
28.
work.
So that way, nothing will be overwritten
like this.
So there's no poem. It's not going to touch your existing Emacs 28. And the next thing I did was I have Electric Office. So this is where all the JS aliases go. So I just copied the original and modified it at the end to look like this. So the only thing I changed is this and Emacs load path. So this is just the title, so it's not important. But I have not tried without changing this one, so I assumed this was the correct thing to do. I just made the assumption this was the correct thing to do, and you should have everything work fine. Now the first time you launch your Emacs 28, you will not be able to use the F2Z command. So as you can see, it's Emacs version 28. And if I type F2Z, mine works, but yours will not work. So actually making it work is very simple because all of the GIS variables are loaded. So all you have to do is install one thing. Right, so you have to go to your package manager. Now, again, if you newly install this, you will also not have a package manager, and that's actually very simple to solve. So whatever init file you use, so say for example, let me go to my init file. So I called my init file init_28. That is not important. What's important is if you are planning on using any version of Emacs, right, doesn't matter, you will have a file called init28.el 28 underneath .emacs.d. So if you go to your home folder and you have a .emacs.d, you will have something like this, init.el. So this will be your default initialization flavor, but I changed mine so it will point to this file instead, and it will detect. So there's a conditional that checks if the file is less than version 24. I load something called init-safe. I load a different file called init-safe. However, if it is more than version 24, I load this one, init28. Right, so whatever it is you use, it will mostly be the same. So all you need to do to have your package manager running is this snippet. You can find it here. So if I open this link, in my file, if I open this link, you can find an example of a minimal Emacs setup. So actually, if you explore online, there'll be lots of examples of minimal Emacs setup, but this is just one example. So you can have here, so you can see a section here called Setup Package Manager. And all you need is this part of the code. That's all you need. You actually don't need all of this. This is enough to have your magic mode running. So once you've done that, if you restart your Emacs, so make sure you close it and you restart again. Okay, so once you've restarted Emacs, you'll be able to execute the command package list packages. And the way you execute any command in Emacs is by typing Alt-X. So you can see here, Alt-X. And I type package dash list dash packages. And I press enter. It lists all the packages available to install. Now there's so many packages available in Emacs that no one on earth has installed or packages available for Emacs. But the only package we're interested in is magik-mode. As you can see, mine is already installed. Installing it is easy. You just press enter or click with your mouse. So if I press enter, instead of the command delete, the button delete, you should have the install button here. Once this is installed, typing Q will close the buffer, and typing Q will also close this package manager. So Q. Your command F2Z should work. So if it still doesn't work, that means if it still doesn't work, that simply means there's something wrong with how you loaded your GIS aliases. So you can try your usual run alias command. Right. Now I want to show you another thing I did to improve my experience of using Emacs for SmallWorld. So I changed the default font. So I went to this link, which I'm also going to share from in the description, and I simply type this command: set face attribute default nil, and the name font, and then the name of the font. Right, so you actually don't have to type this. You can actually make it simpler. You can type without the weight, just the name of the font. This will be good enough as well. Right, so if I evaluate this code, right, so evaluate is another word, another term you will hear a lot among Emacs users who use Lisp a lot. So this is a Lisp code. So if I wanted to evaluate, I type Ctrl+X, Ctrl+E, and we'll set it to Source Code Pro. So I like this font much better because it's a very modern looking font. However, I don't like the thickness, so I'm gonna stick to a lighter weight. Right, so this will make your Emacs experience a bit better. So, and if you don't like the size, if you like it bigger, a little bit bigger, you can as well put the size. So say for example, I like the thickness, but I want to make it bigger. Let's try 14, see if it works. So that works. So you can actually look. So in order to have this font available, you need to install. So installing fonts in Windows is very easy. Any font you like, just type source code pro font. So source code pro is what I use because I came from a Spacemacs background, and I'm going to tell you what Spacemacs is about. But source code pro is the font I like. I've been using it for a long time. And if you go to the official site, you can just download and install. Installing it is easy. It's very straightforward. Just download and right click install. So so this is a bit too big, so I'm gonna make it back to normal. I made it too big already. Okay, later I'm going to have to refresh my Emacs. I'm going to have to reload restart my Emacs so that it looks as it's like its previous setup. So another thing that I'd like to show is actually my repo, which has all of my experience of learning Emacs, and it's called Emacs Learning Journey. And the remote is called Emacs Learning Journey. Now, if I go into emacs.org, this repo basically documents my 2-3 years experience of learning Emacs. I started with a framework called Spacemacs. Right? So Spacemacs is a beginner's friendly Emacs. And my main goal of starting Spacemacs was to move slowly towards vanilla Emacs. So as I continued my journey to learn it, I document everything along the way. So in here you find lots of beginners links as well as advanced example of links. Right. So most of them are not organized properly, but I will slowly organize them every time I get the chance. There's a lot of stuff here, from basic stuff like learning Lisp and all that. But so if you might have one so for anyone who might be interested in learning Emacs, either teaching to a kid or to a friend who knows, or maybe you want an Emacs at your home laptop and take the time to learn, you can follow my file emacs.org.